Hey everyone, Craig with Catfish Yakking here, and I finally got a nice day, January 14th, to get out on the river and see if I can't catch any catfish. I'll tell you, I've always said I'm not going to come out here unless it gets in at least the low 50s. Well, it's about 52 degrees here and almost no wind. It's only supposed to get up to 3 to 4 mile per hour winds today. So this was a perfect day to get out here and see if I can't catch some catfish. Now what I'm going to do is I'm fishing a creek channel. There's about a 25-foot spot that I'm going to, and I know the catfish will hunker down on the bottom, bury themselves in that mud a little bit, and that helps keep them warm. So what I'm probably going to start out doing is just trolling around with my bait suspended off the bottom and see if I can't drop it right in front of the face of one of these catfish, and hopefully he'll grab it. Anytime you're fishing in January, when the water temperature is cold, you know, it's a crapshoot whether you're going to get anything or not. So I honestly don't know, but it's such a beautiful day. I thought I was going to be cold out here, and actually it's quite nice. So good temperature, almost glass-like surface on the water, should make for a great day of fishing. I'm starting out with small sponges. As most of you know that's watched my other videos, I don't use cut bait. I don't have a problem with anybody using live bait or cut bait. I just choose not to. Sponge is nice and clean, and I like it. So I just dip my sponge into the dip bait and drop it to the bottom, reel it off the bottom a couple feet, and then the catfish, that's right at their level where they can get it. One thing I wanted to talk about was size of sponge. So I'm going to show you, this is a full-size kitchen household cleaning sponge. You can cut this into any size you want. The smaller you go, the smaller the catfish are going to be, to a point. Now my wife will fish real small sponges and she'll land an 8 or 9 pounder. So I'm not sure how she does that. I tend to use bigger sponges. I've tried using a full sponge, haven't had any success yet, so I've cut it down some. So here's a couple other sizes, right here and then right here. This size here, I actually caught a 30 pounder and a 20 pounder on years ago. Before I was even in a kayak, I had a small aluminum boat I was fishing from. So definitely the bigger sponge will catch the bigger fish, no question about that. When I first started fishing this way, everybody said, oh, you can't catch big fish, big catfish on a sponge. Well, that's simply not true. I have lived it myself. So I don't know, middle of January, what's going to happen. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and put this video out. I told my wife, Carla, that who's working today, that's the only reason she's not out here. I told her, if I don't get any fish, I'm not going to put this video out. And then I got to thinking about it, and I thought, you know, I think it's good to go ahead and share information with other people out there. And so if I can get some information out there, even if I don't catch any fish, to me, that's a good day. And I love being in my kayak, and I love being on the water. So hopefully we're going to catch some fish. I'm going to just troll along and see what happens. Current runs at 3 p.m. Right now, it's about 10 after 1. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time. Once the current starts running, I'll probably throw my anchor and go ahead and just suspend my baits off the bottom and see if any of the fish get active and start moving around. If they don't, then I'll probably go back to drift fishing or trolling for a little bit and see if I can get any that way. If not, then I'll probably call it a day. I usually only come out for 2.5, 3 hours, and then I'm usually ready to go at that point. So we'll see if we get anything or not. Either way, though, it's a great day. Take a ride with me. Let's go see if we can stir up some catfish. All right, so I am almost halfway across to the other side of the river, which is where my main catfishing hole is. And as soon as I hit the channel or the drop off there, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this sponge down. I've got a 5/0 circle hook, and again, I pinch the barb down. And this is on a 6-foot medium heavy action Bass Pro Shops Extreme rod with a Bass Pro Shops Pro Light bait cast reel. My line is, I believe I've got on there 40 pound. I don't go anything less than 40 pounds because of the size of the catfish that do come in here. I was using 40 pound a few years ago and actually had a catfish break the line. So, you know, if you're fishing and you've got blues or flatheads and they can grow to pretty good size, you may want to make sure you're using heavy line there. But I am using a small sponge today. It's probably 1.5 by 1.5 inches. And if I start catching a lot of fish, then I'll go ahead and increase the size of the sponge and see if there's some bigger ones in here. So I'm getting ready to drop this down and we'll see if we can get anything or not. I wanted to tell everyone out there that I want to give a shout out to Justin in Tennessee from Kayak Catfish. I watch his videos. He's a great guy. I've never met him before, but I love watching his catfishing videos and he's taught me a lot. I never even thought about suspend fishing until I saw him do it. So a big thank you to you, Justin. If you watch this video or if somebody knows Justin, certainly tell him that there's people out there that greatly appreciate his knowledge and sharing that with the rest of us. I used to get snagged at the bottom of the river all the time because I thought your bait had to lay on the bottom to catch the catfish. And when I saw him suspending his baits 2 feet off the bottom, catching fish, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give that a try with my sponge technique. Now he uses mostly cut bait and I'm using sponge, but you know, our techniques are very similar other than that. So I started suspending my bait off the bottom and I catch just as many fish as if they're laying on the bottom, maybe more. So I've definitely went to that technique and I rarely get snagged anymore because of that. I like to go about 2 feet off the bottom and I like to just let that bait hang there and wait for the fish to find it. So I wanted to share that with y'all. And check out his videos at Kayak Catfish. They're pretty good. All right, guys, so I am drifting along very slowly right now. It is low tide, and so I've got about 45 minutes or so before the current starts running. And I'm actually, the wind is just pushing me the opposite direction that the current's going to be running here in a little bit. So those two are pretty much going to offset themselves, so I may not even have to anchor today at all. And it may just move me around in this whole area a little bit. Have not had a single bite so far. The water is so cold right now that those fish, I'm sure, are very lethargic. Metabolism is slowed way down so they can survive the winter, and they're probably just buried down in the mud in the bottom. But while I got this time, while I'm waiting to see if I get any bites, I wanted to go ahead and share with you my anchor rope I use is a nylon rope, and my length that I choose is 30 feet. The deepest point in this area at high tide is 25 feet. That gives me about 5 extra foot of rope to put out, and it works quite nicely. My anchor is a mushroom anchor. I use an 8-pound right here. I tried using a 5-pound anchor, and when you would get a fairly windy day, it would not hold. So I went up 3 pounds and found out that this one works remarkably well. Now, if I have the current and the wind going the same direction and it's really strong that particular day, it will pull this. But there's so many logs and debris on the bottom, it doesn't pull it that far. It'll end up just getting hung on a tree limb or a branch or something like that. And I'm able to get it out quite easily just going back the opposite direction. All right, just wanted to share more of my gear with you. All right, I wanted to take a second to show you the true benefit of being retired and being able to come out on the river during the week. It is dead calm out here. There's no boats running up and down. I've got one bass boat probably a few hundred feet away, and other than that, I've pretty much got the entire river to myself. And that is the benefit of coming out here. And it's like that even in summertime. You might have a couple more boats, but it's not much different the entire rest of the year. So that's pretty cool. It's always nice to get out here during the weekday if you can take a day off from work and come out. I'll tell you, it's so much better than coming out on the weekend when you have all that boat traffic and the waves knocking you around, especially if you're in a kayak. So pretty nice. We've got good weather out here too. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it a day. I've been out here a couple hours and I had one bite, and it was just the rod tip moving down a little bit, so I can't even guarantee it was a bite. But I picked the rod up and I wasn't near the bottom, so I wasn't snagging anything. So I suspect it could have been a bite, just wasn't sure. You know, the dead of winter like this in January and February, you just don't catch a lot of fish. I had two other bass boats around me and they were not catching anything. They weren't catching any type of perch or bass or nothing. So that tells me right there that this is not the time of year where you're going to catch a lot of catfish, or maybe catch even no catfish. So I probably won't be coming back out again until March. And once we start getting those consecutive warm days and warmer nights, that's when the catfish bite should turn on. And then certainly by April, we'll be right back into it pretty good. All right, well, thanks for watching, and sorry I didn't get any fish today to show you, but you know, at least I got to show you that some days that's how it goes. I could not get that skunk out of the kayak today. We'll talk to you later, and Happy New Year to everybody out there.